Next item. Item H, accept a resignation from the Traffic and Safety Parking Committee member effective November 27, 2018, and direct the city clerk to post a notice of vacancy in accordance with state law. Mr. Medina.
Two reasons to pull this. First, appreciating Jessica Barnes-Lopez's years of service on the Traffic Safety Parking Committee, and a reminder to those in the audience or those people that may be interested in pursuing being on the Traffic Safety Parking Committee, you have until January
18th,
2019 to apply with the city clerk. So hopefully some people will think about stepping up, finding a way to improve the safety in your neighborhood and around San Bruno.
And I also, for the city clerk as well, anybody, and they accept applications for all the committee commissions and boards annually. It doesn't have to be for a vacancy, so it can be on file, and then if that should occur, you'll be notified to see if that application is still valid. So if over the holidays something moves you to want to apply, you don't have to wait for an opening. So any action on that?
Motion to approve with the
Second.
council's gratitude.
Motion made and second, and appreciation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Conduct of business.
Item 6A, adopt resolution approving design, authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with KC Construction Incorporation for the Arbor Court Pressure Regulating Valve Replacement Project in the amount of $369,060, approving a construction contingency of $56,000, appropriating $146,000 from the Water Fund, and approving a total budget in the amount of $546,060.
Mr. Tam.
Yeah, good evening again, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. So as the City Clerk mentioned, this item in front of you tonight is to award a construction contract for a pressure regulating station project. So this is the recommendation, as the City Clerk mentioned, is to approve the design and to authorize the City Manager to execute a contract with KC Construction for the project in the amount of about $369,000, approving a construction contingency of about $56,000, and then appropriating about $146,000 from the Water Fund. So before I go into the detail about this project, I'd like to provide some information about the pressure regulating stations. The city has a total of 28 pressure regulating stations in our water distribution system, and at each of these stations, there's a valve similar to what you see on the bottom right-hand corner that regulates the flow of water before it reaches the homes. So what the valve does is it reduces the flow of water from high pressure to low pressure, thus providing the residents with a more reliable water system, and that prevents the sudden spikes or drops in the pressure. So the regulating station that we're replacing is located at the intersection of Arbor Court and Greenwood Way. The existing station is in a vault underneath the sidewalk, and it consists of a 6-inch regulating valve and a 2-inch bypass valve. The new station will be located within the street, approximately 6 feet from the existing vault, and consists of an 8-inch regulating valve and a 4-inch bypass valve. So the increase in valve size for the new station will help improve the fire flows and also allows the city flexibility in providing water to a different pressure zone during an emergency if needed. In addition to the replacement of the regulating station, the SCADA capability will be added to this location. SCADA stands for the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. So what it does, what the SCADA components usually are installed to allows staff to monitor the upstream and downstream pressure of these stations. So what the SCADA will trigger an alarm if the downstream pressure spikes above the operating set point, and this allows the staff to quickly respond and immediately assess the issue. So staff has coordinated with PG&E to provide a new power connection to the SCADA unit as well as San Bruno cable to provide communication and connection. And then red curb is about 15 feet is being proposed for future maintenance access as well. So in order to select the contractor, the project was advertised back in October 2018 here, and notice to bidders were sent to 52 contractors. A total of 4 bids were received and opened on November 14th. And the table shows all the bid amounts of the 4 bidders, which ranges from about $370,000 to about $630,000. So the lowest bid was received by Casey Construction in the amount of $369,060, which is about $56,700 less than the engineer's estimate. And staff reviewed the bid materials and determined that the bid submitted is responsive. The firm has experience with the construction of these pressure regulating stations. In 2015, the firm completed the construction of 2 regulating stations for our city that were connected to San Francisco PUC pipelines. I'll show some pictures of it in the next couple of slides. In addition to the regulating stations, the firm completed another project, which is the Trenton Sewer Replacement Project. Staff is pleased with their work performance and recommends awarding the project to Casey Construction. There was one minor oversight in regards to awarding the contract to Casey. Tonight, the city's normal process is to issue the notice of intent to award to contractors and allow a period of 5 days for potential bid protest. If the city council chooses to award the project tonight, the staff will be issuing the notice of intent to award tomorrow to contractors and also hold off on sending agreements to Casey until the bid protest period ends. And staff currently doesn't anticipate any bid protest on this project. And like any construction projects, there will be some impacts to residents during construction. Some of those impacts include temporary traffic control, which will be in effect during construction hours, and noise and dust. And staff will work with the contractor to minimize the construction impacts to the neighborhood during construction. So the project, once awarded, it's anticipated to begin construction in next year in February. And just want to show you some pictures of what the last project looked like here. It's a pretty standard clean installation. It's a prefabricated pressure regulating unit. So the contractor basically excavated a large pit within the location where the regulating station is going to go, and then the entire unit is dropped into the pit, and then the pipeline is connected thereafter. So in regards to the fiscal impact, the city adopted the fiscal year 18-19 budget, which includes this project for an original appropriation of about $400,000. And staff has used about $80,000 of that money for in-house staff design, time, surveying, and electrical consultant services. The total project cost is about $546,000, and which includes all the items that are listed on the slide there. So staff is requesting an appropriation of $146,000 from the water fund. So there are a couple of alternatives tonight. One is to, for the council to not chooses to not to award the project. And the first is, reject all bids and direct the staff to re-advertise the project. Staff believes that the lowest price received from Casey Construction is reasonable based on the comparison with other competitive bids received. And staff does not anticipate the costs for this project to go lower if the project is re-advertised. And the second alternative is to not award the construction contract and to not complete the project, and to direct staff to research alternatives to replace the regulating station. So, however, staff is recommending to council to move forward with this project tonight. So this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions of council to staff? Marty.
Of the 28 stations, how we're no replacing this one, how does the future look for the remaining 28? These are expensive. Everything's expensive nowadays, and just curious to kind of see where you think we're at with our remaining work that needs to be done with these stations.
Yeah, I don't know the extent of all the various conditions of all the stations. We haven't done a full assessment yet, but in as part of our CIP, there are a total of about 5 stations that are budgeted for the next remaining 5 years. And so we'll be coming to council for additional, contract awards for other PRV stations next year.
So in the graphic with the picture showing got the red curb is there, have we talked to the homeowner letting them know, hey, maybe we can move that red curb closer to the curb return so that it doesn't take up a full parking space, and then looking at the asphalt and maybe talking to Casey. I did work with them when I was here, of being able to maybe putting in a couple curb ramps there, because they're already going to be there. They're going to be digging, and maybe you could work out some really good deal with them to be able to do that. And the asphalt in that particular area is pretty crocodiled out. So I just wanted to kind of feed that to you, and hopefully you guys can explore about how to minimize the parking impacts and possibly get a 2-for-1 while they're working in that area with the curb return, or with the curb ramp.
Right. In regards to the curb ramp, currently, we're not asking for the council to approve the curb ramp at this, not the curb ramp, the red curb at this moment, because we're planning to take that item to TSPC as we normally do, and the residents within around the neighborhood would have an opportunity to state their opinions as they normally do, right, as part of the process. So then we will bring the item back to council approval for the red curbs at a later time. And then it could be shifted.
Right.
Yes, and that's something that we can look at.
Because clearly we can't have a vault with a car parked on it when there's
That's
an
correct.
emergency, that it has to be done that way.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Next.
No, it's okay.
Other questions? Is there any speaker cards, anybody from the audience wanting to speak on this item? No? Okay. Any action from council?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second on the resolution. City Clerk?
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Aye.